Hello and welcome to this Let's Play of Scions of the Summit, a Fire Emblem fan game project by Team Contrary. My name is Blue. I'm actually one of the developers for the project. I'm the lead writer, so I did all the dialogue, the supports, and a lot of other miscellaneous writing for the project. I'm also the early game CG artist for this game, so many of the artwork that you're going to be seeing, especially in these early game chapters, are mine. We do have another person coming on to the project that will be working on CGs for later chapters, Rosaline, but unfortunately you won't be seeing much of her work just yet for the current available chapters. Another thing I did is the music, so I did a lot of the scouting for different MIDI files, and I would edit them to make them sound a little bit closer to the Fire Emblem GBA style music. I also worked on animation and palette swaps for several of the characters and some of the portrait art, which did get edited for this current patch that we're doing. And while I do a lot more of the, I guess, artistic side of this game, I did do a lot of testing, so I'm fairly intimately familiar with a lot of the gameplay mechanics. And so that's why I actually wanted to sit down and properly do like a dev playthrough of this current demo, which is about 13 chapters. It's more like 10 fully proper maps with 3 guidance chapters. But yeah, I kind of wanted to showcase basically the dev perspective as opposed to, you know, a blind playthrough that a lot of other players might have. Just to kind of show like the thought process of where we are as a development team and how I would personally go about doing a lot of the maps, just knowing what to expect. Again, I've actually been wanting to do this for a while, but I haven't had a lot of time until recently, so I'm going to be using a little bit of vacation time to go through several of the chapters and do several recording sessions while I can, so a lot of these are going to be in succession to one another, so I might not be like reacting to comments and such, at least not right now. Maybe if people post them in the comments themselves, I'll react to them. Also, another thing was that I've just been recovering from a cold recently, so if I sound a little bit stuffy, that's why. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but again, hopefully people would understand me as I try to discuss all the workings of the game. The current patch that I'm playing through right now is currently unreleased. We do plan to post a new patch fairly soon with several of the updated portraits, which is one of the things I'm going to showcase here. They're not all complete right now. It's mostly characters up until, I want to say, halfway through chapter 7. We do have one character from chapter 8 whose portrait did get changed up a little bit, and so you'll be able to see that, but we're still working on those behind the scenes. And thank you again to our new portrait artist who only just recently came on within the past couple of weeks, that helped us revamp a lot of things. Retro Gamer, again, he's done an incredible job, and hopefully you all enjoy his artwork that we're going to be showing off today. And I also want to give a shout out to his project, Parallel Emblem. I'm going to be leaving it in the description of this video. I'm pretty sure he and his dev team would appreciate more people testing out the project and just giving his work a little bit more love. A lot of the portraits that he did for that are also custom made, so again, shout out to him. And hopefully more people can try out that game as well. Otherwise, like I said, again, this is going to be a dev walkthrough to show off how to beat the maps, as well as discuss the developer perspective on everything and just why we decided to do several things the way we did. I'm also going to showcase things like the story and supports, just for people who feel like they just want to enjoy the plot and not have to go through the game itself, because as it stands right now, the current difficulty that we're balancing the game around is hard, so it might be a little bit challenging for certain players. We do plan to add more difficulties in the future, so there's probably going to be something like a standard or easy mode, as well as like a lunatic mode or maddening, as they call it, for the Crown games. We'll see what we decide to call it later on. But otherwise, yeah, I'll be leaving a link to the thread for this project in the description, just so in case you decide you want to download it and play it for yourself, it'll be there. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started, and I hope you all enjoyed the story. So as you can tell, I'm probably going to be staying quiet for a lot of the dialogue, but I do want to kind of chime in a couple times just in case, because I know that some people have some difficulty pronouncing a lot of the made-up words as well as some of the names, because as you probably noticed, several of these countries are very loosely based on real-life places. I won't get too much into that right now. Actually, maybe a little bit, just because we have this little review section that was added because we had some people kind of interested in the lore, and just so that they could kind of familiarize themselves with each of the countries starting off. And again, I'll showcase a little bit more of that later. We did add a section over to our codex that helps people to kind of contextualize a lot of these countries and make sure that they have something to refer back to in case they're a little bit confused. But anyways, I'm going to go down the list to showcase each of the countries and the descriptions for each, and hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to pronounce some of the names. So as mentioned, we have Contranos here. Sometimes I call it Contranos. It's a little bit kind of contentious between the devs, but Contranos is probably the closest pronunciation we're gonna want to go through here. And so this is our protagonist's country, which is currently going through famine right now. I will note that Contranos is probably very loosely based around several countries, including Greece, as well as like general Latin influence. The next country is Grandmere, which is a little bit more based around Germany and English influence. As you noticed, there's some more German influence with the names of their army, which is the Shield Ritter, or like the Shield Knights, basically, for those who are familiar with the language. Zimagora is a little bit more like Russian Slavic influence, so the names are gonna sound like they're from there. Next up is Almadeira, which is mostly a lot of Spanish influence, but there's going to be a little French influence as well, as you'll notice with their prince, whose name is Enjolras. For those who are familiar with Les Mis, that's kind of where the name comes from. Next up, we have Remoulade, which is more like Middle Eastern influence. I will say there is also a bit of contention about the pronunciation of the princess's name. I like to pronounce it Lila, other devs like to pronounce it Layla, so either one works, honestly. And last but not least, we have Kyofunoshima, which is more Japanese influence. And I will note that this is probably the only time that we're going to be seeing Prince Koki until the next big update, so it's kind of a little bit of a teaser for all of the royals who'll be showing up. We will be seeing several of the other characters during this particular playthrough. Again, it's only the first 13 or so chapters. As of recording, hopefully down the line I'll be able to showcase more of the chapters, but as of right now, this is what we've got. So I would like to note that I'm also using this particular patch as a testing ground for a lot of the new animations, and I already noticed there's a couple of issues with a few of them, so unfortunately we're just going to have to deal with those for right now, but that's why this is not the current patch that's available. So yeah, this is kind of both helpful for me as well as the dev team before we put out the proper version. So again, unfortunately, we'll just have to deal with those for right now. Hopefully they'll be fixed by the time that the next patch rolls through for the public. But anyways, let's sit and talk a little bit about the general map design. And I'm hopefully not going to be doing this for every single map, but I do want to use the prologue to talk a little bit more about just the general game design philosophy for Scions of the Summit. So pretty much you'll notice this with a lot of our maps, is that there's a lot of side objectives that you can do along with the main objective. Usually the main objective was a little bit easier overall comparatively to doing side objectives, so in this particular case you see that we just have to beat the boss in 14 turns. I could just zoom over here with my units and just take him out, but as you can tell there's a couple of bandits over here that are going to be going for a lot of these villages, and they carry a lot of useful items for anyone who wants to grab them, which I want to do. And so we're going to be doing that for this chapter, and I'm going to hopefully do that for future chapters as well. But let's kind of sit and talk a little bit about each of the units. So we actually have two lords in this game. This is Feline, and she's our light mage character. She has the personal skill Kentrana's Blessing. And you'll notice how it's going to be charging up a couple times until we can finally use it. And as you notice, the greater her staff rank is, she'll be able to do several additional things with her skills. So it could be like an extra healing. You can do things like area cleansing for status effects and whatnot. So as she kind of increases her staff rank, you'll get more uses out of that. Astria's skill is not very useful at the moment, but we will be getting a cav for her to keep up with units to use her personal skill. She does have this accessory, and I will note that we did add accessories to this game, and pretty much it's just kind of an extra item for these characters. Also, I have to kind of get used to the system because I'm using a different file than the one that I normally use, so I have to kind of mess around with a lot of the controls. So I'm getting used to them again. So anyways, like I was saying, she has this accessory that's only useful for armors, but it will block certain attacks, and we'll hopefully get to see that in a couple of chapters. Estrada is our anima mage, and I will note that his personal skill has this weird issue, and I'll also make note of this for Godric as well. We'll be seeing him a little bit later. But for whatever reason, and this seems to be an issue with LT, is that certain skills that they grant buffs to other units, if you restart a chapter, and I think it's more so in the chapter that they're introduced in, the buff will actually persist. So say for instance, if you decided to close the game, like suspend, and then restart level for the prologue, instead of restarting the whole game, you'll notice that Adept Tutor will actually persist on all of the characters, so the stats will stay the same on them for the rest of the game. Hopefully we won't have to do that, and it'll function properly, but similarly, Godric's skill will do this as well, so just recommending that if you are going to restart certain chapters, to not use restart level for the ones that they're introduced in. Again, this shouldn't be an issue for Estrada. For later chapters, it's just the prologue for some reason. We're not entirely sure why, but again, it seems to be an issue with LT overall. This is our other Lord Mithrius. He has 2 personal skills actually that we'll be showcasing, but he's basically like it's like a wet noodle, but he's very fast, and he can pass through enemies, and we'll actually be utilizing some of these skills a little bit later for certain maps where a lot of movement is needed to get to certain areas a lot more quickly. And even though he doesn't hit very hard, this skill right here, Dash Attack, is actually very helpful in weeding down this particular enemy skill that we have for a lot of our bosses called Tenacity. And so what it does is it'll reduce damage by 80% while it's active, and then basically each attack or action used on enemies will reduce the stacks until it's 0, but then it'll recover about half a stack every start of the unit's turn. But anyway, another thing is that we added something called like in-battle conversations. So this isn't really support conversations, but this is more of like an additional kind of method to showcase characters talking to each other, especially for ones that don't even necessarily have support conversations with each other. But it's also used to give a bit of a buff to certain units for that particular chapter, and we'll be showing that off with these characters right here. So I'm going to start off actually going up here because, again, as the dev, I know that there's going to be more bandits coming out to attack these villages, so I'm going to start moving my units up here. And I'm actually going to be playing with animations off just so that I don't waste time. Actually, another thing that I do want to showcase is that we do have some additional weapons here that we have for specific countries. So as you noticed, we mentioned Zamagora here in the prologue. So we do have specific weapons that are, I guess, associated with certain countries. So they might have particular like characteristics to them, just because they're from a specific country and whatnot. And hopefully we'll be able to have several more of those later on to showcase. But anyway, like I said, let's not waste too much time and do a little bit more of, and hopefully after actually fix this, which is good. So we're gonna have Helene talk to her to get the buff. And again, unfortunately, Astria's animation is having some issues, but hopefully it'll be fixed for the public release. This guy out over here. And then we're gonna do pretty much the same thing with Mithrius. So we're going to, so what we can actually do, and I actually don't want to waste dash attack on this particular enemy, just because I want Estrada to get some experience as well. Actually doesn't crit, because he does sometimes for me. Hopefully we won't have too many whiffs with third characters. We also have some fixes to Estrada's animation as well, but we'll see. Just gonna skip a lot of this, just because there's really no reason to show off enemy face. So as you can also notice that Feline's actually glowing right now, so that means her skill is active, but we won't be doing that just yet. Just gonna move Astria a little bit closer this way. We're not gonna have that guy dealt with until we have our other characters over here getting to them. So just gonna go over this way. So as you notice, we have these two bandits here, so I'm gonna take them out just so that they don't cause any trouble for the other village. And again, I will say that I'm not necessarily going to be playing perfectly throughout this, but I might miss a couple things here and there. But hopefully this will be helpful for those who are having a little bit of trouble with dealing with certain maps. We'll come back to these villages in a little bit. So notice that Astria's is active, so she's not going to take damage either way, but it's still going to count toward it. So the speed block will cause that to not hit. So we shouldn't really be having any more issues going forward. So what we can do is we can actually visit this village. And we can attack afterwards. No, there's some crit. So as you notice, he's not really going to be getting a lot of strength, and I'll actually showcase this here. We can actually show off some of the growth rates here. And so you notice that his strength is 10%, and again, that's pretty low, but again, there's a narrative reason that we'll be getting into next chapter. Actually, it's going to explain why exactly he has very poor strength. And so maybe might not be an issue for the whole game, but I won't get into spoilers just yet. Gonna clean up a lot of these enemies here and just have Astria calm down. And then start moving Demetrius up to the boss. So we're actually doing pretty good on time, and so I'm gonna come here with Lane because we do have staff we can get for her, and it's gonna be a little bit more useful overall compared to the current one she has. And we'll be getting her other staff to another character that will be showing up a little bit later. Strata finish this guy off, except he's going to miss, because of course he does. At least it's not against the boss, but that's what happens sometimes, you know. So we'll just start moving up this way. I do want to give more boss kills and such to my mages, just because it's going to be a little bit more useful overall to me. I'm actually probably going to move Astria to grab it instead so that I can bring Demetrius a little bit closer, because we're not going to do this anyways. But so as you can see, she has several things she can do with her continuous blessing. We'll start at the heal here, and she can act again afterwards if you feel like doing that. I'm going to start going this way because I want both Mithrius and Estrada to be able to get some EXP. So we're going to try to get some of this tenacity down with Mithrius, so what we can do is dash attack. it's not going to do any damage, but it's going to whittle down its defenses a little bit. Cartway's having a little bit of animation issues, but we'll fix that with the public release. And just leave it at that for now. Another thing is that we do actually have a really nice weapon here from Mithrius. It's not his personal weapon or anything, but it's very useful for if you're having a little bit of trouble making sure that those bandits don't get to these villages. Let's leave the jump for now. So let's see where we are with the tenacity. It might already be down completely, so there we go. What we're going to do is attack with Strata. It's going to give Helena a little bit more of a means of getting some XP for herself. Let's see, it could start out. Yeah. So I do want to get them up a little bit more, at least one of them. Interesting, okay. As much up as possible. So, do actually... I'll just wait it out just in case Estrada misses again. Not really the best level up, but it's fine. I'll probably use this opportunity to get Helena level up. Could also do this with Mithrius. Do want to give him a little bit extra that I can finish this guy off. Maybe. Let's see, because I'm not sure. Let's do that. Just because she's going to be a little bit more helpful in the next chapter. And that is the prologue. Again, hopefully I'll be able to record several of these in succession. So I hope you enjoyed this first part, even if there are a couple of issues. But again, like I mentioned, this is both kind of a showcase of the game as well as me testing out some more things before we put our next patch out for the public to play through. But again, a link to the game will be in a description. Again, it's an older version for right now, but hopefully within the next few weeks we'll be able to put out a proper patch with these new and updated portraits. So anyways, again, thank you all for watching this particular first part. So hopefully you all can stick with the rest of them as we go forward. Thank you.